Okay. So I wanted to kind of start from the end, just to quickly wrap up the quarantine subject. Um, just recap, we had this request to decide what to do with tests that were quarantined for a long time. And we have some good news on that front. Basically, every assignee did their job, and there's no quarantine SIG storage tests at the moment. So if we break it to subjects, there was IO errors coming from libvirt, like a bug. We bumped libvirt, that went away, and D was kind of driving the bug report and then consuming the new version. We had Alexander's cross namespace abort test, cross namespace migration abort. That is also merged and dequarantined, and we had some generic hot plug tests in quarantine. Those are all solved. So yeah, at this point, this is a clean page, no SIG storage test in quarantine, and I tagged Lubo who raised it right here on the document, so hopefully you can see it. So yeah, that's that topic. Actually waiting for Alexander to join so he can hear this, but anyways, whoever's here, thank you for the work. And I guess we can jump into the open floor. I don't think there's much movement on VEPs just yet. Not for the new cycle. And we have Adi's CBT topic.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. So it has been discussed a bit in the past. Right now, the way we actually facilitate CBT in KubeVirt is by creating a QCO2 overlay per disk that's included in the CBT that's opted in. And the overhead in terms of storage space consumption per disk is varied, right? It consumes space according to several parameters, which include the virtual disk size, the the bitmap granularity in correspondence to that virtual disk size, and finally which is what I'm about to discuss as well. It's the cluster size or the chunk size of the QCO2 overlay. So the way it works with the QCO2 overlay that has a data file raw, which basically just tells QEMU that the external data file is a standalone raw image, it behind the scenes it forces a pre-allocation of the metadata. So it means that all of the L1 and L2 tables are fully pre-allocated, which in turn consumes additional storage space. So up till now, we've been using a default, which is 64 kilobytes for that chunk size, which in turn consumed much more storage space than we would have wished for, especially considering the persistent state PVC which hosts those QCO2 overlay is rather small. But that's a separate topic, and the deep dive for the details and the change concerning that cluster size is in the PRI link. So feel free to look at that at your own time. What I would like to discuss, however, is something a bit different, and it's raising or re-raising the topic of dropping persistent bitmaps entirely. So Alex already raised here that Proxmox does this. They do non-persistent CBT. There has been some pushback on it, but I like to hear the community's opinion on something like this and the potential for um, not having persistent QCO2 overlays per se, um, and by extension, not having persistent beat maps, which would reset the chain on VM restart.
Yeah, just a bit more background on the Proxmox situation. It's something users have been asking for with like a checkbox, but it was constantly being pushed back on by the developers, saying you like their argument is a little weaker than ours. They think somebody can go behind their backs and change the storage, which is something a bit unorthodox. But anyhow, either way, it's like a niche territory for like experienced users. It's not something common, and the fact that it's still like this in 2026, I think, speaks a lot about the user um, desire.
So let me, can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah,
Let me just understand, you're saying that in Proxmox they are using non-persistent bitmaps and people are asking to get persistent, or is it the other way around?
they're doing non-persistent, and some people, like a niche category, are asking for persistent. It
Okay.
never made its way.
I guess my thing whenever we're like building a feature that is present in the marketplace already, like I would look to VMware to see what they do and would be most interested in providing like a similar user experience to that when we're designing something new, just because that's what people are generally probably going to be expecting. It's going to be a harder road to justify it behaving differently.
So VMware also relies on a completely different set of mechanics to actually implement their CBT solution.
Hmm.
But that's besides the point. I would
Yeah, people
say
don't care
that,
about the details, I would say, I
yeah,
guess.
no, I'd say that the main point here is that if we go with transient bitmaps, um, then obviously after you perform a VM restart or a VM shutdown, the backup chain is cut off. So the next backup would be a full one. But as far as we're concerned, or rather, as far as the user is concerned, I think this can be deferred, like the handling can be deferred to the vendor. So supposedly, it would just mean that the next backup after a restart would be longer than usual. Like I think you can just mask this entire thing if that makes sense. Um, at least as far as backup vendors are concerned, which is
Yeah,
why
but
I'm
when
even considering this to begin with.
I think when we say longer though, like that minimizes the fact that it's like orders of magnitude longer. Like I think OADP or Valero folks have um worked with the backups and they showed some numbers like the how much longer like the initial backup is quite long and so if we're doing more of those and it's basically I don't know, I think it'd be interesting to talk to some set of vendors that would be integrating with this API to see what they would think, but I'm guessing. And anyway, I don't want to be you. I think Adi, you already know my opinion on this one, so I'm just I'm briefly saying the arguments, but hopefully there'll be a discussion from others as well. But I think it's going to be a hard sell, and we'll be asked to do persistent ones anyway, so we might as well get it right to start with.
Yeah, I think I feel similarly to Adam. I mean, I know that storage vendors were involved in the vet process to some degree, so getting feedback from them, I think, would be the most important thing. I mean, in my opinion, more than like uh, what developers think, you know. But yeah, I think it would be hard to change once it's already been shipped.
I think what would help here, Adif, is just describe how making persistent work with the implementation in QEMU as it is going to cause issues or be fragile. I think that would help the argument.
Well, the main tension here is that it's just very unpredictable, and you can make a lot of changes while the VM is running that affect how it consumes disk space. Um, and as far as disk expansion of the persistent state PVC goes, we don't really want to support, or even can support in some extent, dynamic resize according to those changes. So it becomes some sort of a guessing game slash exposing some implementation details to our users to decide how to proceed.
So is this, could I ask you, when you talk about resizing, this is the workflow where a user enlarges the PVC that stores, let's say, their root disk, and then KubeVirt is automatically expanding the disk. You're saying that that flow doesn't work with when we have
Well, it's not that it
bitmaps?
doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work. Just affects the total space consumed on the disk.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the persistent state PVC, I mean, the one that stores the QCO2 overlays.
Mm-hmm. So this to me makes me think of I sort of hate the argument that people make sometimes, but storage is much cheaper uh, than engineer time or IT administrator time. So just make it larger. Like what the cost of a extra couple gigs of VM state storage in certain situations is far cheaper than like having to do full backups sometimes over the network because we didn't implement storing it because we were worried about efficient use of storage. Like I think that I would argue that just make the storage bigger so that you can absorb some of this stuff. And if that becomes a problem, we can make a policy on it, or there's like other options. But
But yeah, this does relate to these earlier point about the bitmap size too. And I was very surprised to hear it was 64K. I assumed it was like in the megabyte range, which makes more sense to me. Like I just feel 64K is too granular. I mean, for this, which obviously the bigger bitmap size would reduce the storage requirements as well.
we could ask that's something we could ask the platform like QMU to if they would consider working on that in the future, and then maybe we could scale the bitmap size based on the disk size or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how fancy we have to be with it, and I don't know what exactly is supported now, but just I mean, 64K is to me like that's too granular. I mean, most
I think
most IOs
it's
are going to be kind of co-located, on the disk. So I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think it's specifically for IO that is random and isn't co-located. At that point, you'd be just covering more disk space.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think yeah, I just have a hunch that one megabyte would like or something bigger it would be better, and where 64K is too much.
We can definitely consider it. Like right now, if we don't go with transient bitmaps or whatever, it would be we would need some sort of way to expose alerting like alerts on the approaching like the upper size of the persistent state PVC, and a way to obviously resize it. Otherwise, we just fail the backup.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could see as we improve this feature further, if you filled up your persistent state storage, then um, either maybe you would revert to transient, or you would just have an alert that says like we failed to track the bitmap because the state is full. Your next backup now is going to need to be a full one. And you should give yourself more space. Like, but this is a problem, I think that, and then we could manage that with some sort of automated process sometime down the line. Like, we don't have to get this. I don't think all this needs to be perfect right off the bat. I think there can be some improvements for some of these corner cases, I think, in the future if we design it correctly in the beginning.
Yeah, I just think a truly random IO pattern, especially for writes, is pretty rare. Like, I could understand random reads on a database. Yeah. Anyway, my 2 cents.
Yeah, right. I think we can move on to the next topic. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody's seen this, but there's this annoying error 25 that cuts your CI lanes like midway and doesn't even run a single test case. Apparently that's long fixed in KubeVirt. Daniel Hiller fixed it months ago. So it's just about picking up that change. Basically, just stop uh, caring about the like the builder container cleanup exit code, and that's been working great in KubeVirt for a few months at least. So I think it's pretty safe to pick up. So if anybody wants to go take a look, I think ID already LGTM'd. It should really help with this annoying flake. Like even community PRs are read because of it, and people think like people have their AI debug this, and it's a whole mess. Um, that's that. Then we have also the expansion test topic. Working in that area right now, and I made quite a bit of changes. And noticed the tests are not ran, like they're not picked up in upstream CI. That's because the setup cannot satisfy expansion. It's using the, like non-provisioner local storage class. So I optimistically refactored it to use CSI, and then a whole bunch of issues showed up because, the tests are not ran ever. So yeah, I kind of extracted this whole uh, topic of expansion test to its own PR, and I made my other PR depend on it, so I need reviews. Yeah, so we also have I had some time today to triage the KubeVirt issues page, so we can actually go through the query. Pretty sure, yeah, we touched on the platform architecture. That's already in the works, I believe, or at least it's planned. We have two new issues, so That would be this one and this one. And I'm pretty sure we just discussed the CBT topic. I'm not sure who this person is, but I would encourage them to join these meetings so we can actually,
I think it's a developer from one of the backup vendors.
yeah, exactly. Had a hunch. So if they join these meetings, I think we could greatly benefit. Like, um, sometimes I feel like there's a whole like product angle to this to CBT that we're not necessarily experts about, and they would be. So they would be sitting here telling us, "Oh, that is why nobody uses Proxmox because it doesn't have that feature."
Could you invite them in a comment? Just let them know there's a SIG storage meeting at such and such a time.
Okay. And the other one, which I admit I looked at, and it was a bit of a weird one. Somebody is deleting a PVC. Um, Wait for first consumer PVC. It would not converge when they restart the VM, like post the failure. They're using this on failure rerun strategy. It seems like they did quite a bit of debugging already. Um, and I have like a vague memory of us putting this check in here, but I'm not sure it's the right call right now. I think that's exactly what breaks them. Yeah, let me look that quickly. Oh no, it's pretty old. I think it's actually just an oversight from the introduction. Uh, Tempted to call this a good first issue. Uh, if I can put a label here, I think it's um, just about going through with the flow. Like with populators, I don't think you have to worry about the VM starting. You know, it'll just only start after the population happens. So this uh, succeeded. Actually,
Um,
I'm not.
sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I'm just an intern, so I have a different issue I'm working on right now. But I think once that's done, and if Danny's okay with this, I could take a look at this issue since it's a good first one, as you mentioned.
Cool. Yeah, I just looked at this again. I'm not sure what this VMI phase is about, but yeah, I'll just label it good first issue, and if you want to pick it up, feel free.
Will do.
Uh, see if I can label. Yeah, I'm probably not doing the label thing right when I manage CDI. Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to be like a collaborator on the repo probably. See if I can ask. Okay, it should have the label, so it doesn't escape us, but yeah. On second thought, I wouldn't trust triage here completely. I would come with an open mind and kind of try to debug it from the bottom. I'm not sure this is the problem. Okay, so that's actually all we had in KubeVirt, and I went back weeks. I went back like 2, 3 weeks, and I couldn't find more SIG storage related issues. So I guess it's just a quiet time, and I'm pretty sure CDI is also in a good state, but we can check that. Yeah, there's nothing really new in here, but it's a good reminder that this, for example, has an open community PR, and actually I gave it approval last week. So if anybody can take a look, I think it's pretty competent PR, and we already discussed it in the community meeting before. Yeah. If anybody can LGTM, take a look here. I think the state reflects what we discussed in this meeting. We have this, which is, I believe, about the 4K sector size. Pretty hot topic internally, but yeah, it's closed in upstream. And I gave them a chance to test it. I'm not sure if they are. But yeah, basically, QEMU image convert or even create, I think, would just fail if for 4K sector sizes, which is crazy. You'd think that's like the most common test case for QEMU image, or at least one of the more common ones. But apparently it was broken in a window between libvirt 10 or 9 something to 10.
So do we think this is resolved now and it was just a temporary failure? Because like I had stopped thinking about the sector size issues or whatever, because I thought we had gotten a handle on all those.
Yeah, no, it's not it's fixed upstream because I made a PR to consume a fixed QEMU
Mm-hmm.
or the entire stack. I can't remember where the issue was. But it's a pretty hot topic internally in Red Hat. Like it's going to get backported to a bunch of branches. So
Okay.
I believe CDI 65, 64 maybe suffers from it, and I'm not sure we can give upstream easy backport with all of the Bazel uh, changes. Like it's not going to be clean. Okay, and we have this too, but it's kind of already assigned. We have a community PR, but I worry it's tackling it from a different angle. Um, there's this PR limit package in CDI that kind of addresses the like a theoretical DOS you could initiate with the info QM image info call, but I think uh, I'm pretty like high conviction that this is not possible in the container world because you have C groups, you're running in a specific C group environment that has limited memory. So even if you wanted to initiate this DOS, that by the way, this DOS attack comes from OpenStack Nova, so it's pretty old stuff.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure the entire package could be eliminated. All it does is guard against this. And the user is suggesting and like deletions in this package, but I say we just completely delete it. It's like it makes it harder to reason about CDI code, and everybody who developed in that package knows it.
Hmm.
Do
So
we
what's
already
stopping us
do
from?
like limits on? I thought we didn't have limits on the importer containers, or maybe we do.
We do have limits on the
We do.
importer uploader. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we had some nasty. There was a kernel memory manager regression that Alex actually found because of the limits. We were getting killed because they were accounting wrong in the kernel, actually. But I don't think that would have happened if we didn't have the limits.
Yeah, we have like pretty conservative limits by default. Forget where it is in the config controller. Yeah, those.
Yeah, I guess then that PR limit stuff must have predated limits.
One of the first packages in CDI. This is why
Yep.
I figured it predates the entire concept. So yeah, my worry is the user is keeping it, and I replied with that, but they weren't replying back. So we're thinking with Davide that maybe can take a look at removing the entire package. It really is just a wrapper over Golang's like exec, uh, but the variation that receives the context. So keeping an entire package just for that seems like overkill. It's pretty complex package too. Like the tests are complex and the implementation itself, there's some logging in there. Um, yeah, I think CDI will be a better place without it.
Uh, Hey Alex, sorry. Yes, I'm just evaluating the change to do. After that, I'll write a comment, and we'll try to understand if I can maybe add another pull request that can replace the existing one. Let's say, because we don't have any answer from the user, and well, we'll see if the user agree maybe.
Yep, sounds good. Okay. That was it for CDI issues, I believe. I guess we have the S390 end-to-end lane, which is not working, but this is a draft, so I don't want to start reviewing and commenting on a draft. But the lanes are red for a while now, and folks know this if they have open PRs. It doesn't mean anything is wrong with yours, and it won't block merge, but I agree that it gets in the way, like it's confusing. Okay. Um, I think that's the agenda pretty much. So I'll ask if anybody has anything else to raise, pending PRs, anything open floor.
Yeah, I have an open pull request on CDI. It's the linter errors. Should I send it in the chat?
Oh, you sent it in the chat. It's this one, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. CC myself here. So I get an email. Or I'm pretty sure I already got an email. I just didn't get to it. Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries.
Was anything interesting about this flagged errors?
Honestly, not really. It's just it's just for getting rid of uh integer type conversion linting errors uh when I run the linter.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. Try to take a look.
Yeah, it was either commenting out or changing the type or typecasting wherever possible.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
I think you should
Uh,
probably just take a look at the files changed and see if I could, you know, perform other changes if needed.
yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. I see there's another null end here. Yeah, from a quick look, um, I think we might be able to fix things like this instead of going with a null end, but I'm not
Okay.
totally sure. Like maybe you could change the signature and um, yeah, I'm not sure to be honest. I have to like open the IDE to give a good review of this.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, because
maybe
when I tried to
go ahead.
change the type of a struct that was that was in that object, um, it caused a whole bunch of other errors. So I just tried to limit that
Yeah,
because that would cause like red squiggly underlines in other parts of the code, and I didn't really feel like dealing with that. So if it was simple enough and it didn't cause any red squiggly underlines, I just stuck with it.
yeah. Maybe in some cases, like for this case, that may be true, but for like a contained progress reader, maybe it would be trivial to propagate the new types.
Hmm.
Like I'm not sure this is affecting anything other than the image.io data source, for example, this. But again, I didn't try, so can't say for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see why the VDDK package would be VDDK data source would be
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah.
PR limit is on its way out, so I guess we can keep that. But yeah, maybe see if you can try tackling the progress reader ones.
Okay.
So
These are also no big deal.
the
Just
progress leaders are in 64 because we're potentially going to pretty large numbers. And I guess the extents itself will never go over the maximum size of int. So I think it's just complaining that we're upcasting a regular int to an int 64. That's what it looks like. But I have to take a closer look.
okay. Anyways, I'll leave a better review on the PR itself. So
Okay. Sounds good.
okay. Anybody else with any open floor topics, PRs or issues? Okay, then thank you everybody for joining, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye bye.